War Eagle War Rapport family, I am your host, C Dub. Auburn falls for the fourth straight time against Arkansas on yesterday. We break that down and discuss Auburn moving forward in the latest edition of the Weekend Tailgate.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by
Athletic Architect.
It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
Happy Sunday, everyone. And despite how you may be feeling, it's still War Eagle forever. I'm joined by Ike Jones, B. Will, Mike G still out recuperating. We want to welcome you guys to the latest and greatest Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by show sponsor, Athletic Architects. For those of you who are student athletes, related to a student athlete, or you're just looking to get your LLC off the ground, if you fall in either of those categories, you need to go to buildthehouse.com and begin planning your financial future today. Shouts out to them for supporting us, supporting the Weekend Tailgate, as well as the War Rapport. We also want to thank you guys for supporting us as well. Even if it is the day after, even if there's weeping and gnashing of teeth, thank you guys for being here and doing that at the very least with us. You can also support us by numerous ways. One way you can do that, if you're on social media, share our content, help people to find our content, help them to join in on the conversation, and help us to grow our community. While you are here, smash the like button. And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button so that you can also be plugged in and become part of our community. As for ways to support us financially, you can become a member of the War Rapport, get access to some pretty dope content. Ike's here to tell you all about what that content consists of.
Yeah, it consists of me complaining about how awful we looked on Saturday tomorrow while looking at video in detail, but also trying to find some bright spots. I mean, listen, it is what it is, man. We're going to continue to break this stuff down, whether you guys want to see it or not. I'm just going to force feed it to you. Again, just kidding. Nah, really, the patrons, you guys continue to be the backbone of what we're doing here at the War Report. We appreciate all of the members that are on board with us. You get access to the film breakdown stuff that I'm doing on Mondays. You get access to the game day live chats that we do. We are going to continue rolling through the entirety of football season right into basketball season with some great basketball content coming up for you guys. But continue to support us. $5.99 gets you there. If you are a member and you want to gift a membership to someone else, you can do that. Just right down there in the live chat from a desktop computer. You can gift as many memberships as you like, and they get one free month of War Rapport membership on you. I didn't even mention with the memberships, we do giveaways to games. So you get tickets to games and stuff too, potentially as members. But we're going to try to figure out how to do that for some basketball games this year as well. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, today we're giving away stuff as usual, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. We're giving away a War Rapport mug. You need to hashtag get your weight up in the live chat to be a potential winner of this. The drawing is going to be taking place right around the 1 hour mark. So you guys make sure you hashtag get your weight up if you want to get a chance to win this mug, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services.
Guys, let's go ahead and get into it. We all know what happened yesterday. Pretty tough loss. I know that B, you was kind of homering. You was hoping that Auburn was able to pull it out. Ike, you actually felt good about Auburn's chances leading up to that game, just because of Arkansas's issues on their team as it pertains to their defense. You felt like Auburn had an opportunity there. You were there covering the game. Just your initial thoughts in terms of what you saw, what you observed. Take it away.
Yeah, we're not good.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
I saw that firsthand right there, watching us miss tackles repeatedly, and not execute plays. I think the most disappointing thing for me is, and I heard you guys talking on the post game, is that we didn't turn the ball over and have a bunch of crazy penalties that shut drives down, and we still got housed. We got absolutely handled, and we didn't have a bunch of self-inflicted penalties and turnovers. That's usually been the thing that you can, man, if we could clean it up, it was cleaner.
Yeah.
And it was a clean, like,
Butt whooping.
ass whooping. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't, there's no way to like pussyfoot around that. Like, we just got handled on the field. And it was mostly just like a couple of big plays on defense where a guy breaks it and then he's off to the races. It was just like, yo, what is going on? Or a missed tackle here and then it's 20 yards later. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy how bad a team we looked. This is something that, of course, you hope during a bye week you come out here and you find a way to win this game, or at the least compete to where it's like, oh, you got a shot at winning it close to the end, but we didn't look good in any facet of the game. I sat here in this booth and watched Chapman shank a punt. Absolutely shanked it for no reason whatsoever. I was just like, what just happened? One of the most reliable people on it's just like it's infectious. It's infectious. The poor play is infectious.
Based on what you observed on the sideline watching, maybe you were able to observe some players. What was the body language looking like? Because this obviously Eagle is asking, do we think some players have mentally checked out?
I think some play. It's inevitable that you're going to have, like, it's a big roster of people. There are going to be some people who have checked out, who are just like, yo, I'm over this. This is a thing we have to realize about a lot of these guys. And I talked about this a little bit. I don't remember where I talk so much about Auburn football. I can't remember whether it's on camera, off camera, but just about the mentality. A lot of these guys are not used to losing, man. They're not used to losing, and they're not used to not being the guy on a team.
Right.
Wherever they came from in high school, they were the best player or one of the best players on that team. They were on teams that were winning because they had the talent, right? They're not used to coming to situations with other talented players and losing. Like, that's a harsh reality, especially if you're a young player, to wake up to and be like, yo, why are we losing games? I know we're talented. I've seen this guy run really fast in practice, and I've seen this guy have good catches and good throw. Like, why are we losing? And you have to understand that this league requires a little bit more of you than what you can't just wake up and be athletic and win. And that's the reality, I think. When I hear the players talking post game and I hear Coach Harsin talking the post game, that's a reality some people just haven't woken up to, is that it takes a little bit more effort in preparation going up to the game to get to a place where you can consistently be great on game day. And I don't think all of our players got there yet. I think they still thought, I'm that dude. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna put on. And it's like, it's a lot of dudes on the other side of that football too. And they're not just laying down because they've had a bad season.
Right.
You have to get up and play. I watched Texas A&M fight like hell. And they've been objectively bad all season. But they are still out there fighting in games. Now, still lost. They're still not a good football team, but I saw fight in them. And that's the thing that I think that disappointed me the most with some of our players. There's some of our players who fought absolutely to the end of that game.
Sure.
People can say whatever they want to about Robbie Ashford, and his body language sucked a lot of the game, but he was still out there playing ball every single time he stepped on the field. Jarquez Hunter probably is the most committed football player I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That man goes 100 miles per hour in every single facet of the game every time he checks in. I love everything about Jarquez Hunter and the way he approaches football. You can tell Derek Hall is dying slowly on the inside, because I don't know that there is a player who loves Auburn more than him on this team and is absolutely getting eaten away at seeing the product that's being placed out there on the field. You can see him on the sidelines trying his best to like get guys focused and like, hey, look, man, this game's not over. And it's not sitting in with some people, man. And yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. I fear that game might have broken the spirits of the team. I fear that. I don't know that that's going to be the case. Maybe they wake up and, you know, they hear people talking about them again and it reignites something. You know, our guy Marquise Burks, he was frustrated, bro. He was out there giving it he was frustrated on the sidelines during this game. So yeah, I don't know if they've checked out mentally. I think some people are just, I think when you see a guy next to you who's not giving max effort, it makes it hard for you to continue to give max effort. And he's like, I can't make up for you and me. So I don't know, man. It's difficult.
Misa AT Alien, appreciate you for the super chat. She says, War Eagle, on my drive back from Pennsylvania today, heard Blacker be talking about a player's parent telling him Harsin tried to burn the red shirt of a player in the last minute of the game yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
He tried to burn someone's red shirt. I mean,
so allegedly, I guess the player was on the way to red shirting and Harsin called him into the game for garbage time.
Huh. Is it like a known that the player wanted to red shirt?
I guess that's what the assumption is.
If that's true, then that's terrible. Like there's really no reason to burn.
If you already do it,
yeah.
Now, if he just happened to have only played 4 games so far, and there's been no discussion about a red shirt, then I don't have a problem with that. If you've said, "Hey, coach," well, maybe because if he had actually said that, then he would have been told, "If you don't want to help, then go ahead and jump in the portal." So if he was still there dressed on game day, then he probably hadn't communicated, "Hey, I'm about to redshirt, so I'm good." So it sounds like a communication issue and an issue that will probably be resolved fairly soon.
Yeah, for sure. Joe Kyle asks, and I think he's person Chase, what did they see that we did not see last summer?
I don't think anybody goes into an off season or coming into a new season and thinks, yeah, man, we suck. It's about to be an awful season. There are talented players on this team. And I don't know how any athlete suits up without thinking they are about to be great. Athletes who are in college, especially you in D1, you're in the SEC, they have been great probably from like Pee Wee League. They have been the best player on the field, at least through high school, a lot of them. Best player on their side of the ball, at least. And so they get into college. They're not, like I said, they're not used to losing. They have confidence in themselves. They're putting themselves through the paces, and something we heard from Robbie, we hear from Brian Harsin a lot in these press conferences is the hard work that goes into preparation between the offseason and during the week. They have not put it together at all, but they're still putting so much. They're investing so much into it. So you're not pushing yourself and hurting and throwing up to think, yeah, put myself through all this so I can be terrible this year. Like, that's not what they're thinking. All that effort is still there. Jarquez Hunter still did all the work, man. I saw Tank worked out more this summer than I've worked out in 10 years. Because the work is there. Now, they haven't been put in a position to win. And also, we're lacking in very critical positions. But those critical positions are enough to tank the product of the team. It just is. So where they're left is you hope that the coach has a plan or a way to maximize those shortcomings to make them better. And if he doesn't, you're screwed. And he hasn't. So they're screwed. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
I'm gonna grab a super chat just before we get into start talking about phases of the game. Walt says, at some point, can we discuss the Kiffin post-game interview and him calling out Texas A&M or A&M player, an A&M player for faking an injury? Did you guys see that?
I didn't watch his post-game interview, so I don't.
I didn't either. I saw him saying it kind of at the player on the field, which is kind of wild that a coach was calling up. A coach is like talking at a player in a negative tone, in a negative way. I mean, I remember, what's his name? McElwain kind of chastising his own player on the sideline a few years back, but he used some cuss words, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." Words is I don't think words from a coach to a player, especially after he did something bad, like he fumbled or was way offside or something weird like that. I don't know how Lane got away with that yesterday. Like he came off the sideline during the review to say, why don't you go ahead and sit down and fake another injury? BITCH. Like, whoa, Lane, like you can't just talk to folks' kids like that. What you doing? Well, I mean, listen, man. Apparently, when you are one of the big names, one of the known faces, and you give really good interviews and you're winning, you can get away with stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, let's kind of talk about the game. I know that's something that we kind of don't want to do, but let's talk about the game and kind of break down some of the facets. Let's start with special teams or not so special teams.
I don't want to.
Oh, but we are. All right.
Yes.
No punt returns, although in the punt return game, we had a punt. Instead of being fielded close to midfield, it was allowed to bounce deep into our own territory and actually we would have been set up with good field position because Arkansas was punting deep from their own territory. It ended up being an incredibly long punt, which flipped the field entirely. We did end up scoring off of that, but still, no kick return attempts, 5 punts. Of course, there was a shank that was mentioned by Ike on the part of Chapman. Very uncharacteristic of him. Carlson went 2 for 4 of kicking field goals, did have a free kick out of bounds, and a failed attempt at an onside kick. That pretty much described special teams effort on yesterday. It was just bad. I don't know what else Ike and B can add to that other than it stunk to the high heavens. But anything else, gentlemen?
I asked Coach Harsin about the kicking duties and whether or not they're going to consider some changes because it's just not been good. And he said, yeah, we're going to have to look at that. But it's like, man, like you ain't seen it yet, bro. Like, I'm just like, what? Who needs to see something to make some changes is all I want to know. Is like, what y'all looking at, man?
Right.
It's almost as if we have this loyalty to guys, and it's like, man, I believe in you. You can pull. It's. I think I'm gonna like psychoanalyze some things. It's almost as if the coaches have been hoping someone gives them continued chances after they screw up, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna give you the chance nobody ever gave me. I see you struggling right now, but I'm gonna give you another shot because I believe in you. I don't believe, cuz. I don't believe it.
I don't believe, cuz.
I don't believe. Cause I just there's literally no evidence that is moving in the right direction. I watched them warm up doing kicks, and I'm like, this dude don't look like he got it, man. So like, is it just when people are watching you in the stadium that because you can't be doing what I'm seeing during warmups and the game in practice and people being like, yeah. Or are the other people really just that bad? Like, are we just thinking McPherson is the truth just because people heard he kicked this long field goal in high school?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Ike. Did you see other guys kicking pregame?
Yeah.
How did they look?
I ain't gonna lie. It was the field goals I saw. I was like,
okay.
Now they look like. So here's the thing. I don't, man. I don't. It just we didn't look like a good football team, bro. It just didn't look. There was nobody who I was watching kick and say to myself, why isn't this person kicking? But I could tell you one person who I was looking at and said, I don't know why this person is kicking. The other ones just kind of looked okay. One of them looked bad.
Okay.
So again, I don't know.
In the other phases of the game, are you shocked that this is what it's come to in terms of our punt return game? because it seems like after the muffed punt at Georgia, that has been non-existent. Early in the season, there was flashes of Keontae Scott taking chances. It looks like we all felt like this dude is going to break one this year, given him taking the opportunity to just take some chances. Now he seems timid, and they took him out a punt return at one point in the game.
Oh, no, he never came back. After the kick that went over his head yesterday, Keontae Scott wasn't back there at all anymore. He actually didn't start as the punt returner. We had Dzalen Worsham starting as the punt returner. Keontae Scott came in for that punt. That one went over his head. Dzalen Worsham was doing the punt return duties for the remainder of the game. Yeah.
So it's...
But see, that okay, so that right there, again, begs the question. If we can say Keontae Scott muffed this punt, let's get somebody else on punt duty. Keontae Scott let this punt go over his head, let's get somebody else on punt duty. Why can't we do that with kickoffs?
Right.
You're willing to bench this guy for not fielding punts properly, but not this other guy for not. I don't understand that. And again, I have to question, whose decision is that to make? Whose decision was it to say, nah, he's not returning punts no more? Because it's got to be the same special teams coach, right?
Same coach.
You didn't want Keontae Scott returning punts anymore because he made a mistake, but you're letting Anders Carlson 2 games in a row now kick off out of bounds. Twice in this game, if we count the onside kick, that was abysmal. It was an awful onside kick attempt.
Right.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was 2. It was 2. So we've already told him, hey, we're kicking onside again.
So he kicked one deep that went out of bounds. 2 games in a row. Onside kick attempt, terrible. I don't understand why the same special teams coach isn't seeing that and saying somebody else need to kick the ball off. Why? That doesn't make sense to me. Field goal kicking has not looked good. Missed one, got one blocked. Now, I understand one of them was long and trajectory and blah, blah. That ain't new, though. We know that long kicks require both height and length. So getting it blocked just because it wasn't a 63-yard field goal that he kicked. It's like a 51.
Right.
So why is no one saying, hey, man, I know you've been here for a while. You don't have it right now. We're going to give somebody else a shot at this. I don't understand that. Again, this seems like I'm just like piling on Anders, but we're talking about special teams right now. And then I said, inexplicably, I don't know what happened with the shank on the punt. Now, he came back and kicked some marvelous punts later, but the shank on that one punt, I was just like, why does everything have to be bad?
Right.
Everything?
Right. And the reason why it seems like we're piling on Carlson is because he's the only person who seems hands off.
And here's the thing. He was objectively bad before he got hurt.
Right.
And like, I know people want to talk about the injury. So if you were like just okay before your injury and you've come back worse since it's time to like move on to somebody else.
Right. Yeah. Lisa Wise says also the first missed field goal totally shifted momentum. We get a big turnover on their opening drive and no points.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about that when we get to offense.
We're gonna talk about offense. We're gonna talk about offense.
Definitely talk about that.
We're gonna talk about offense.
I agree, Lisa, 100% that was demoralizing to, number one, to even have to kick a field goal in that position, but to get no points out of it when we missed a field goal. It was just like it was an early game, so people were like really late getting into the stadium. The first thing that happened was amazing. The very first play of the game, you get a sack and you get this, good momentum. And then nothing. Like you just come up empty and it's just like, yo, what? What are we doing?
Yeah. Any other thoughts, B? You're down there beside yourself. Any thoughts? Anything you want to say about special teams before we move on?
I would like to not talk about special teams, please.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. We can. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's go to the break. Let's go to the break real quick before we start talking about any other phase of the game.
Hey, let me rest
Guys,
up.
Some milk.
you are watching the Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by Athletic Architects. Please be sure, guys, to share this content on social media. That is Facebook, Twitter. If you're on Twitter, use the hashtag #GetYourWeightUp, or Facebook. You can add us at the War Rapport on Twitter. You can smash the like button while you're here. Help us with our engagement as you're watching live. And if you're new to our channel, we would love for you to subscribe, guys. Let's take time to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Definite shout out to all the sponsors of the War Report's Weekend Tailgate, and shout out to those of you who have continued to be a part of the Green Name Gang. If you want to be a part of that gang and be able to chat with us live on game days, even be able to see film breakdowns, then you have to become a member of the War Rapport. Patron level is what's going to get you to that exclusive content, but $5.99 per month will get you there. You can join by clicking the join button right below this video right now, whether you are watching live or on replay. Join the members as a member of the War Rapport and get access to exclusive content and the ability to live chat with us. If you are a member and you want to gift a membership to someone else so that they can just dip their toe in the water and see if it's something that they want to do and you can change their life forever, then you need to go ahead and gift that membership right down there below the live chat, only from a desktop computer. You can do that and gift as many up to like 20 memberships you can gift at a time. YouTube will randomly select people who have been interacting with our content to give them those free memberships. Right now in the live chat, whether you're a member or not, you can hashtag get your weight up right in the live chat and be eligible for this drawing sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. We are giving away a War Rapport mug today to someone right here in our live chat. GWT2 Energy Consulting Services is sponsoring that. Hashtag get your weight up to be a part of that. Now, I know everyone is going through a tough time right now. It's tough. We as Auburn fans are just lamenting how tough it is to watch Auburn football. But listen, we have some help from our guys at the Rogue Shop to help you get your calm on. So we'll talk about them, and then we will be right back with more of this great Auburn content.
This episode of the War Rapport is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Definitely shouts out to Rogue Shop for helping us get through this season, get through each game. Some of us have been taking a lot of it. So shouts out to them for definitely being a partner with the War Rapport. Let's get back into it, guys. Let's talk another phase of the game yesterday that was very disappointing was the defensive side of the ball. There was a total of 69 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 QB hurry. But Auburn's defense ended up giving up 520 yards, 234 yards passing, 286 rushing, which was definitely disappointing considering how many yards we held them to on the ground at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
The dam kind of broke, guys, in almost in similar fashion when we look at some of these games from Penn State to Georgia, even Ole Miss. It seems like we'll hold serve a little bit. We're doing okay. And then after halftime, it just gets bad. It gets bad. our thoughts. It's hard to point to any one thing that was really. DJ James played well. No,
He's a baller. He's a baller.
okay. I'm naming the positives. DJ James played well.
Kobe Wooden.
Baller. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's one of those things where they almost just kind of like fall asleep for like a couple of plays on the drive, and that's there was one play in particular where Rocket Sanders had a really long run up the left sideline, and they had strung the play out like he really didn't have anywhere to go. And then he bounced it out around this pile of bodies and then just went up the sideline. It was like they got to the point where like, yeah, we got him boxed in, and then they just stopped. And he was like, but I'm not down. Nobody tackled me.
Right.
And so he just kept running around the outside, and he went up. I was just like, what? Pass rush. There is none. There is no pass rush. The sacks that we got were cover sacks.
Yeah.
Every one of those was they covered long enough for somebody to finally get KJ Jefferson
not even the one with Derek Hall coming over off the end. He beat the left tackle one play.
He got there.
He got there. Outside of that, yes.
Like, I don't know what to say about the pass rush, man. Like, it just has been so non-existent. Like, we're giving guys way too much time back there to get looks downfield. And with that sort of thing, you're going to have coverage busts. It's just going to be a thing. Tackling is, you can, like, I think this is the thing that people find, like, I don't understand. Like, if you have to spend prep time during the week talking about ball security and tackling
fundamentals,
like, we can't go back to teaching fundamentals again in the week prep for the game. You need to be like doing installs and like trying to figure out what your game plan is going to be. And if we have to go back to, hey, when you tackle a guy, you need to wrap up, and you need to make sure that your pad level is low enough so that he doesn't have an opportunity to use his upper body strength against you. Low man wins. If we have to do that, and high and tight with the ball, 2 hands on it, like if we have to do that kind of stuff, that's not good. Not after the 8th game of the season, family. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to, like, how to fix an issue that's been prevalent. Like, Wesley Steiner is one of the fastest, most intelligent linebackers that's come through Auburn in a while. The boy can't tackle. He's objectively poor at tackling. He misses so many tackles. Kobe Wooden had a couple of missed tackles yesterday. I was like, and I mean, again, like, people are going to miss tackles. Like, you're not going to always get every single, like, as much of a tackling machine as a Kobe McLean was, he missed tackles every now and then.
Every now and then.
But he made up for it. Like, where are the people who gonna make up for it? You didn't get it done this time, but you're gonna make up for it. I don't see that happening. Now, having said all of that, I will say Nehemiah Pritchett got screwed a couple of times on some penalty calls. He actually looked okay for the vast majority of that game. Now, he had some plays where he got beat, but he actually looked okay. I don't have an issue with our defensive secondary in this game, even though they gave a lot of passing yards. Look, they're going to get you every now and then. No problem there. But if you can stop the run, none of that other stuff really matters. But we literally cannot stop people from running the ball. And that's why I'm scared for this Texas A&M game. But we'll talk about that later.
Can we have a conversation, gentlemen, about Zion Puckett?
Sure. Yes, we can definitely talk about Zion Puckett being out of position, missing tackles, not being great in coverage.
Because you said secondary. You said secondary, and I was like, I there was a trigger that shot up my back because I just thought about how early and often he got picked on in this game.
And the thing about it is, like, he had the one great tackle in the red zone against solo, him and KJ Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Next play, that boy got stiff armed into Australia.
Yeah,
I was like, no, not like this.
Like the lady on the Matrix.
Not like this. I said, Lord have mercy. Don't let it be you. Yeah.
What's so scary to me, Ike and B, is a patient running back would feast on our defense. You have a running back who just gets behind the line and then just eventually breaks out, just wait for everything to collapse, and then gets to that. He would feast because we're just so out of position.
Yeah.
On so many plays, he would eat off of it. And that's basically what their running back did so many times yesterday. He was just patient. He was just waiting for everything to collapse.
Rocket Sanders is a good back. Like,
He's
again,
a good back.
it's not as if they're getting done up by terrible backs. Like, the Rocket Sanders been doing this to everybody all year.
Yeah.
The kids at Ole Miss have been doing Zach Evans and what's the freshman's name?
Judkins.
Yeah.
Quinshon Judkins been doing this to everybody. It's not as if Auburn's getting run on by guys who have not been running on everybody. So, but if you're going to play at this level, you have to be able to compete against the best guys that are out there. Like, there's just no two ways about it. You have to be able to do it. The kids at Penn State, they're good running backs, man. It's not that they're bad backs. It's that you need to be able to play against good backs and be able to stand up against them. KJ Jefferson, this is not the first time KJ Jefferson has stiff-armed somebody on the way to the end zone, right? So it's not as if he got stiff-armed by Stetson Bennett. KJ's a big dude. It happens. But, man, does it have to happen so often in one game?
It was painful. It was painful. And we did see, I saw some people ask, we did see some new faces, or I saw a new face
Mostly
at linebacker.
late in the game, though. I mean, Tisdall got some burn earlier in the game for sure.
Yeah.
Like Wesley, after Wesley Steiner missed the tackle one time, they was like, nah, fam, come on. Hey, come holler at me, bro. Come sit right here. Yeah. And so Desmond Tisdall was able to get in the game and get some burn earlier in yesterday's game. Robert Woodyard actually checked in late in the game yesterday, got a tackle late during garbage duty. So, I'm looking forward to go back and watching film and seeing how he did. Now, it was mostly against reserves, so I don't know how to evaluate that. Right. But I did see him get some burn in this game. JD Rim got some more playing time in this game as well.
I saw him made a play.
Yeah. So, they actually, speaking of Zion Puckett, he got yanked out of the game. They put Gilbert in, and he was playing a little bit. He played a lot on special teams. So, we had some other guys in there. Bridges played, so they were rotating some new guys into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Emba played a little bit, yesterday. So they pretty much emptied the bench, but 41 points is 41 points. I don't.
Yeah.
and outside of the first touchdown that I still don't think KJ Jefferson actually got, they earned all 41 of them points.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to B's point, even if he didn't get it, they still had another shot at it. Even if you didn't give him the touchdown on that. So who knows if they would have still ended up with 41 anyway. They just decided to give it to them much sooner. Guys, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go through some comments here. Retro says Kirby cussed at one of his transfers that went to Florida yesterday after he got ran over. Kirby came on the field and said, "Boom."
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny. He said, "Boom, mother." Right.
Kirby
Yo,
was waiting
it's
for that one, wasn't he?
you just gotta win, man. That's it. You win, you get going. You're gonna be beyond reproach, especially once you've been winning to the level that Kirby has. So
Yeah, for sure. Lawrence Robinson says Harsin has been chippy with the press after the game. He's over Auburn just as much as we're over him. Ike, how was that? You were in the room with him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that chippy's the right word. Like, I would ask, what do you expect his demeanor to be when he's being asked questions about a loss that he just had and during a losing streak? Like, I don't know what demeanor makes sense for him to have. Like, you don't have to be over it to be disappointed in the effort. And then people are asking you, what do you think went wrong today, coach? I don't know. We got our ass whooped. Well, coach, I'm just saying, like, how would you evaluate today's play? Bad. It wasn't good. We can't continue to play like this. Like, I don't like, what do you want his demeanor to be? If he was chipper after getting curb stomped, it would, like, I would rather him be chippy because it seems like he actually still cares.
Yeah.
right.
So I don't know. I think that is more a perception thing than a reality thing about him being over it. Like, if he were over it, he would come in there and he'd be like, all right, so who got questions today?
Right.
How did you feel about today's loss? It happened. Well, how do you feel like your team played? We played like football players. We just but I again, what do you want his responses to be? I would love to ask you that question as someone who has been a coach of a team, and then you give me what you want that response to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't know how you expect his responses to be.
But again, this is what losing gets you. Everyone is just, you know what I mean? Again, no one cares about Nick Saban can say a whole lot of things to the press and get a pass for it. But when you're losing, everything you do is under the microscope. You're not winning press conferences for games that you lost.
Right.
You're not. You're just not going to win those press conferences at all. There's nothing as those losses begin to pile up. There's nothing you can say. You can't
after
say
one loss, you can come in there and you can give people rah, we'll get right, da.
Yeah.
After two losses, you're like, looking, we're still in it, we're still fighting. 4 or 5 of them, you just kind of have to sit there and take it. And people ask you questions, and it's like, I don't know what you want to hear from me right now. Like, nothing that I say to you right now is going to atone for what just happened on that field.
And let's be clear, this is uncharted territory for him too.
Right. And I see Ed Darby saying he could take accountability. He literally said, we have to do better as coaches to prepare these kids. It starts with me. That's a quote. I can go back and pull it. We got the video up on our channel right now of the presser. I can go back and pull the clip of him saying that verbatim.
But who wants to hear that?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really matter what he says.
Who gives a crap about it? Of course, it starts with you, Harsin.
Again, and I know. I'm defending him. My bad. I forgot. My bad. You're right. Nah, he's terrible. Coach Harsin sucks. Use that clip instead. Don't, when y'all pull the clip of me saying stuff, use the one where I was like, Coach Harsin sucks.
No.
Run that
one. No one hears that.
Instead.
Greg Wheatley says, since Cohen is hired, do they pull the plug today?
Cohen's not hired yet. Like, that's just a rumor.
The university
right now.
hasn't announced it.
Yeah, right? until the school says it. I don't, like, maybe he has been hired, behind a closed door somewhere. But as far as I've heard, there's nothing been official announced that he's been hired. So I don't know what to say about it.
All signs point to it, but the university hasn't confirmed.
It ain't official until there's a contract. And maybe they are still negotiating terms or something like that. But as of right now, we don't have an athletic director other than interim Rich McGlynn.
Right. They might have a handshake deal already in place. But yeah, it's not official until you get that university announcement, that email, that Instagram post, that tweet, whatever it is. That's when it's official.
So to answer your question, Greg, I would be surprised if the plug gets pulled today. given what we know to be true about what's been confirmed, I would be surprised if the plug gets pulled today.
Yeah.
I would be surprised. Lamori's Nall says getting rid of T. Will was a bad move for Harsin. What do you think about that, gentlemen? I mentioned T. Will yesterday.
Objectively, I guess you could say yes, but I don't know. I mean, T. Will's a good coach, man. So I wanted him to stay. But do we think that like that's what the issue is? Like, man, if T. Will were here, we'd have a better defense. Possibly we'd have better linebacker play because that's what he would have been a linebacker coach. But that would have meant that he would have had to get rid of the guy who he brought in, which was a linebacker coach who's now coaching in the NFL. So you have to substitute that guy out or somebody like. I just don't know about the timing and the position as to whether or not that was ever going to be a reality. But I'd say objectively, based upon the play of our linebackers this year, not so much last year, because remember, we still had Zacoby McClain.
Right.
This year, you feel the hurt of T. Will a lot more than you did last year.
Right. And that's where not only is his coaching, but also his recruiting at linebacker was very good. Whether or not it was elite, the numbers were good. But again, you look at a recruit like Owen Papo, like Wesley Steiner, and you go, okay, well, maybe these guys they didn't quite live up to the billing. But what I know that T. Will is good for is finding that next one. That's just the one that's going to make it all stick together. Again, we had one in our 2021 class that was almost there. And then once T. Will didn't get retained, he ended up going somewhere else. That could have been the one. That could have been the one that stuck for us. That, oh, well, you know what? Year 1, 2021, he starts to figure it out. And then year 2, this year, he is the glue to make everything else stick. I don't think there's any argument that we didn't bring in any additional. Linebacker looks eerily similar to offensive line in the sense that, well, with linebacker last year, the play was good enough because we had 2 guys, because Wooten was a good player as well. And McClain made it all stick. So you don't know if coaching is the issue because you got dudes that are just dudes. And that's something that's very prevalent to me. I'm looking at Gus's tenure differently now than that we've gone through this with Harsin, because the success gets attributed to sometimes the player and sometimes the coach, depending on who the individual that's having the conversation wants to credit. So, oh man, T. Will made dudes out of these dudes. What if the dude was just a dude? And I think T. Will is a part of finding the dudes, and that's the credit of the coach. To get the dude in here and make sure the dude becomes the dude that he could be. However, if you got somebody that you think is a hot recruiter because they get a whole bunch of high stars, but if those stars don't work out, is it because the players weren't good or the coach can't coach? The most important thing might be to identify talent, because a dude is going to be a dude no matter where he goes. I've long been a proponent of that. A dude is just a dude. You get a dude in here. If you have Bama friends and family like we do, on NFL Sundays, they're always giddy because they got a quarterback to root for or a defensive player to root for. And they believe that Nick Saban waved a magic wand while they were at Alabama and turned them into NFL players. I'm like, hey, man, listen. Julio Jones was the size of a grown man at 17. He was going to be the dude he is no matter where he went to college. That is not a credit to Alabama that he ended up being a dude in the NFL. At some point, you're just getting dudes that are just elite. And if you can get them, you're going to look like a genius. That's really how it goes. That's how it goes in companies. When big companies get a talented guy, well, this guy headed up this project. That project made this company billions. Is that guy a genius or is the company a genius? Depends on who you want to credit, right? Depends on how you see
listen,
it.
Recognizing talent and
that is
putting talent in the position to be successful is the job. Like, it's 80% of the job is I see, like, whoever went and looked at Jarquez Hunter and said, that dude can be a Power 5 running back.
Right.
That guy got it.
That's a win. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You understand how to look at a player and say, I know you're a 3-star, but you're special. That right there is a good job of looking at talent, evaluating talent, and putting them in a position to be successful. They showed a picture of not Kirby, but Lane Kiffin out in the rain in a high school stadium watching Quinshon Judkins play one day, and they were like, "Oh, this picture makes so much more sense right now." He went and watched that young man play, and he was like, "He's a 3-star." Oh, nah, fam, I gotta have him on my team.
Yeah.
That's talent evaluation, bro. You can look at somebody. I watched the Coldest Balls episode recently. It's not a recent one, but I just watched it recently, where Kevin Hart was talking to what's the receiver's name that went to Ole Miss now at Seattle?
I know you're talking about. Man, why his name is escaping?
I don't know.
I know you're talking about though.
But he was talking about how when he got to college, DK Metcalf.
Yes, Metcalf.
DK Metcalf was talking on that episode of like when he got to college as a freshman, he grew like 6 inches or something like some ridiculous amount. Like he was not as tall and big as he was when he broke, like because he broke his leg that first year. So nobody saw him his freshman season. But like somebody looked at him and was like, oh, he's tall and fast. He'll make a good wide receiver. Wasn't highly recruited. He was just an athletic dude. But then he became this physical freak. That's luck. You ain't, but to B. Will's point, DK was always gonna grow to be a man child.
Right.
Like that, he genetically, he was just always gonna be. So like, put him anywhere, he's gonna be that guy. Because he's like lab grown. That dude don't make sense physically to be that big, tall, and fast. Like you're not supposed to have all of that together. Right. That's like giving somebody credit for LeBron James. LeBron was gonna be Brian, cuz like you're not special because you can recognize a nigga 6'7". Oh, excuse me.
You getting comfortable.
Yeah. You're not special because you can recognize a dude 6'7" and can jump out the gym and doing that at 17. Like everybody saw that. What are we doing?
He said he would have gone to Ohio State.
Yeah, but like Ohio State wouldn't have got credit for it.
Right.
He wouldn't
have.
He would. But we would have known.
I mean, we gonna take credit for Jabari.
Yeah, that would have.
You best believe. Now Jabari was gonna be Jabari.
Jabari was gonna be a guy no matter what. The credit is getting to convincing him to come to your school, not recognizing his talent.
Right.
So my bad.
For sure. Let's get to offense. Let's get to offense. Somebody got to take over. Somebody got to take over for Mike, right? Somebody got to pick that slack up. Let's talk offense, guys. Another. Now there was some bright spots here, but I do want to talk about.
Hey, y'all hit that like button too.
Yeah. Let's talk about the offensive stats, guys. Offense passing. Total 285 yards, 24 for 33, 1 touchdown, 183 rushing yards, no turnovers. Now, if you saw this stat before the game and you knew that this was going to be what this offense does, you would probably be feeling really good about Auburn's chances in this game. But it's a matter of when some of these stats was accrued. That touchdown was picked up in garbage time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put the rushing touchdown on there, but yeah, we had one of those as well.
Yeah, so when on the surface, it looks good, but at the same time, we watched the game unfold, and there was just times that we were just not being effective on offense. So when it's all said and done, yeah, the stats looked good overall, but a lot of that productivity came late in the game when it was already out of reach. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, other than the tank touchdown early, like the offense, and that was like one long play, right? Like it wasn't we had this drive down the field. The offense just did not do much. The offense was like, and this is where we get back to Lisa's comment about the missed field goal. Yeah. We had the ball in plus territory pretty much the first 2 drives and came up with 3 points.
Yeah. I tweeted about that.
That was awful. Like there's no way to look at that and say that that's good. I don't, and this is like, I was actually semi confused as to what they saw in Arkansas's defense that said the power I was going and toss sweep was going to be like the staple of how we get into our stuff. Outside of now, I will say this. The pitch play where they had Shanker line up at quarterback and pitch it to Robbie was one of the more inventive play calls I've seen all season. Probably second best one I've seen the entirety of the season from Auburn. As
You know,
far as
they
just a
somebody sourced it. It was the Baltimore Ravens did that with Lamar Jackson last week. So they picked it right out the NFL, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah,
great.
I mean, listen, the play that we had earlier in the season where we had the option pitch happen.
Oh yeah.
I actually watched the 49ers run that a couple of seasons ago, but it was a
Was it
reverse, huh?
Was it to Debo that got the ball?
No, this was the championship year. I forgot which wide receiver. Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders actually got it, but they ran the reverse to Kyle Juszczyk, and Juszczyk pitched it to Emmanuel Sanders. So it's like it's not like he made the play up. Like a lot of what you see in play calling is just somebody comes up with, and it's a copycat league. You see it and you're like, oh, that's dope. I'm going to install that dude. So it's a good play call. It was a great play call for the scenario because it looked as if Shanker was about to try to do a QB sneak. And then he turns and pitches. Like, it was beautiful.
Right. I definitely thought it was going to be a QB sneak. I definitely thought it was going to be a QB
I think
sneak,
Arkansas thought it, like they out leveraged them really easily for it. It was a great play call in timing of a play call. But outside of that, man, I didn't see anything that made me say to myself, yeah, this looks really good. Like, I did not like the abundance of toss sweeps that we ran. But again, and this is a thing, I like to be optimistic and, try to say, hey, man, here are our opportunities to win before the game. This was a bad matchup for Auburn. It really was.
Yeah.
Texas A&M objectively is a bad matchup for Auburn.
It is.
Because at this point, I was hoping our run defense would get figured out. But at this point, we can't stop the run. The thing that Arkansas does best is run the ball. Texas A&M essentially can only run the ball. Like, their pass offense is putrid. It's a bad matchup when the team's best thing is a thing that you do the worst. We don't stop the run well. Arkansas runs the ball really well. You hope that you understand that and you come in and do a really great job. We didn't. But anyway, we're talking offense right now. Offensively, I've been saying this for a while. Red zone needs to look like Camden Brown. Just throw the ball to that man, and somewhere in his general vicinity, let him go get it. I think the same thing about Amari Kelly. I thought the same thing about Landon King. I think we have big receivers that once you get the ball inside the 20-yard line, there's no reason to not. Like, if you think I'm lying, go at Henry Zimmer on Twitter and ask him, did I call the fade route to Camden Brown right before it happened? Because I was like, oh, man, they got a lot of space out here to the field. Like, the only thing I said is I would have motioned Camden Brown a little bit further in to give Robbie more space, but they actually had plenty of space for him to make the throw out because that's what they did, to fade to the corner. I was like, oh, that's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
But I would have done that a bunch of times this season. Give a bunch of space, let Robbie put some air on it, or when it was TJ some air on it, and have a big receiver give an opportunity for a jump ball with a bunch of space to the corner. Doesn't seem like a difficult thing to scheme up. That's really playing pitch and catch when you got a bunch of space out there because they have to cover more laterally. So you create that space and then you give your guys a shot. They did that finally.
Yeah.
Joe Kyle says, I think most of the poor results on offense can be on Robbie. He took a sack before the missed field goal and was uncomfortable passing all day except when he passed on the run.
I don't know about most of the results. That Robbie definitely had some opportunities to make plays, though, that he missed. I won't say that he took a sack because I'd rather him take that sack than fumble, throw an interception. Like, Killian got beat pretty badly on that play. Like, Robbie didn't have a bunch of time to do much other than get sacked on that play. Now, he was holding the ball a lot yesterday in situations where I think earlier in the season he would have just taken off and run. I think during the bye week, he made a concerted effort to say to himself, I'm not just going to take off and run. I'm going to look downfield. And I think for a period of time, it was a little bit of, what they call paralysis by analysis. He was analyzing too much as opposed to just being instinctive and getting plays when he should have. But honestly, this is where Bo Nix started last season, of holding the ball a little bit, because they were preaching to him, yo, you got to play from the pocket, No, just take off and run. And that's where Bo was early last season, of just like, he was holding it too long. He was missing his reads. Robbie is finally getting there. But again, this is his first year as a starter. So he's getting to where third-year starter Bo Nix was under this system in his first couple of games. He's just getting to that place where he's trying to be more patient and not just take off and run a bunch of times. He's got to speed up his processing a little bit more. I think he's going to get there, because I do see him being better. But what we've taken away from him is the same thing I said early last year with Bo Nix, is you've taken away his athleticism as a weapon when you're making him do these things sometimes.
Right.
For sure. That was a point I saw Ed make in the comments as well, is because of the personnel grouping and the type of offense you're asking them to run, you're eliminating their best feature or asset.
Yeah.
Ben Bloodworth says, our team is bad when Chick-fil-A hands out pity sandwiches because we never score from the red zone.
I mean, I get he's making a joke, but that's a contract that they negotiated. Red zone touchdowns were going to be free Chick-fil-A sandwiches in the app. They actually
and I've been there and I've heard that, but that's
they got all these sandwiches ready. They gonna have to throw it away at the end of the game. It's like, hey man, man, get your sandwich.
Take it anyway. Yeah, just go ahead.
Sandwich.
Hilarious. We can talk about. I don't want to talk about it, to be honest, but we can talk about coaching once we come back from the break. But it's time, guys, to give away something. What are we giving away? We're giving away a mug, courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Shout out to Walt Taylor, who's been in the comments, hanging out with us, watching today. We're giving away a mug, guys. Great mug. If you want to enter to win, you already know what to do. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Ike's about to draw soon as this comes down.
Yep, it's time to get to it. Today, courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services, today's winner is Joe Kyle.
Hey,
Joe Kyle.
Joe. We already know you're here.
I mean, you could have left, I guess, but Joe is usually here. So
he's with us.
Joe's here.
But yeah, man, congrats to Joe Kyle.
You already know what to do, Joe, for sure. Business at the War Rapport. Congrats. We do still want to see you say that you're here, but I'm assuming you're here. I'm making a big assumption that you're here. While many other people want to say you're gone. You're here. All right. Let's get to it, guys. Let's talk about coaching.
All right.
6 penalties for 50 yards, 20 first downs, 11 of 19 on third down. We did not go for it on fourth in this game. Red zone, 3 out of 4 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Time of possession,
which we actually won. Yeah,
slim margin, but that's win.
More embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be embarrassed about, but yeah.
I mean, pick one. So, thoughts on coaching in this game? Who's going to go first? What are you lamenting about the coaching?
Let me go first. Coming out of a bye week and having your best week of practice ever, and for this to be the result, I gotta say it's not good. It is not good. If it didn't even look like our best effort, Ole Miss looked like our best effort. It's tough to say best effort, what the best effort is defensively, because you have a weakness and people are hammering it, so it looks terrible. But I don't think the tackling was as bad against Ole Miss as it was last week. Yesterday, against Arkansas. It looked worse against Arkansas. I have to check the numbers on the missed tackles, but those great weeks of practices aren't really amounting to much. Those whatever they are, out of a bye, like there was some wait and see that all of us had, because we definitely weren't going to declare it a lost season in February or in January after we lost to Houston. Like we didn't think that there was no reason to make that assumption. But certain things I look for, and I'm like, all right, so is this coach legit? Is the team improving? How are they improving? I have seen no improvement from the linebackers. Like, it's not really getting better over time. It seems to have gotten worse, and now we're just bottomed out, and we're going to be the same bad performance day in and day out. If it's a matter of not having the dudes, you knew linebacker was concerned when you lost Wooten and Zacoby. We got one person in the transfer portal, and he hasn't really played. So that's, if our bad run defense is mostly because we have a void at linebacker, if they didn't replace the linebackers that we lost, like we lost two and put one in, we had some guys here, but that wasn't enough. And we've talked about this repeatedly. You stacked up at other positions that we didn't need that many bodies. We have four guys vying for three vying for the starting quarterback position, and one that was a true freshman that was widely expected was going to sit. You stack up. Didn't stack up at linebacker, it's really bad. Didn't stack up at O-line, it's really bad. Those are probably still the two biggest deficiencies. So to say, oh, well, they didn't play that great yesterday, so this is not a new coaching mistake. It's the same coaching mistake from the offseason. You didn't get the guys. The unit is terrible. It is the key weakness of our defense. They're still coaching, though. I guess I could say, well, we didn't coach them to tackle. I am never going to say that, this guy was really bad at something every game out there. So this bye week, we were going to fix who he is as a football player and turn it on his head. And all of a sudden, that guy's going to be better at it. This is every deficiency in a player is not a coaching deficiency. There are player deficiencies. But the only solution to a player deficiency that seems to survive through different coaches and different levels of playing is a new player. Who's in charge of getting new players? Coaches. Vis-a-vis, therefore, and by far through, it's coaching. Coaching by not filling in the gaps that we have. So I'm laying that at the feet of coaching, not replacing Anders Carlson. That's at the feet of coaching. When you got kicks out of bounds and missed kicks and block kicks, this has been the worst performing position for us. For one player. Let me say that, for one player. Maybe Troxel. I'm not sure. I don't watch enough offensive line tape to know. So this is a coaching loss all the way around. If he was able to improve our effort, I mean, I guess you could say he improved the fumble problem. But again, I'm going to be consistent. The fumbles were never a coaching problem. It was an inexperienced problem. Now, you make Robbie more mindful there, and Ike said that he's back there thinking a little more because he's being more careful, because he realized how much those turnovers hurt us. Hey, the turnovers are hurting our team. Dang, coach, I never thought about it like that. You really showed me something.
You're right. We do need the ball to win.
Is that good coaching? What? Inexperience, trying to make plays, being under pressure causes turnovers for young players. It's as simple as that. Them not turning the ball over yesterday is not a coaching stroke of genius. The players got tired of being the reason that we lost. So they're more mindful of it. They are taking it upon themselves to improve, because I guarantee, do you really think every time somebody goes out there, the coach say, hey guys, just want to remind you, don't turn the ball over. Good idea, coach. Good idea. So the players got better at that. We didn't turn the ball over. Didn't throw a pick. Didn't put the ball on the ground, especially the inadvertent fumbles, because Robbie had a bad time with that. But he did better. Now, I think the downside to Robbie being more careful with the ball is he also didn't risk putting it out there down the field, which is the only way we were going to beat Arkansas yesterday. We had to pass down the field consistently with some success. But when you're afraid to push it, you don't get those passes. So he's scrambling. He's scrambling for 6. He's scrambling for 8. He's scrambling for 4. And that's not how we're going to beat this team, because they can defend the run fairly well. We had to push it downfield. If the game plan was to just see what they give us downfield, but maybe we can turn it out on the ground, no, F for that game plan. F. I would have much rather have had us air it out to a Camden Brown, to a Javarius Johnson, because we have a big threat. We've got a deep threat that's fast, and those aren't our only playmakers. Air it out. No matter what, I don't care if we throw 4 picks. They have a weakness. We are trying to exploit it. Because if you are committed to that, you make more room for the run because you are willing to air it out because they have terrible corners and safeties. Now, it doesn't mean that they didn't put more defensive backs out there, which is what they did. They had a slightly lighter box, which is why it signals, hey, we got room to run because we got a lighter box. I understand why you start that way, but I personally campaigned for this from my Twitter account. Third drive, Robbie wouldn't have been back out there. The third drive that Auburn had in the first half, if it's just a settle down drive like what he got for Ole Miss, or if it's you're not getting it today, let's get somebody else out there. He did settle down somewhat, but I am always going to be consistent in this. If a guy's not getting it done, you bench him. It doesn't have to be permanently. It doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be for the whole game. You're going to sit down because you're not getting it, because you're making the same mistakes out there. But that didn't happen this time. We gave Harsin credit for doing that in the Ole Miss game. It worked. He didn't do that this time. He just let them kind of slug it out there, and it wasn't pretty. At no point did the offense work or look like it was really moving. We had one good drive, looked like some very timely plays that got called where Robbie and Tank buddied up to get that good drive and those big chunk plays. And that was basically the entirety of the offensive success. The rest of it was painful and garbage time. And I'm putting that on the coaches. So again, not so much with the defense, because I think we just got a whole on a game day coaching thing. Now, I don't know about that. I think that's just guys. But offseason, big picture, it was a coaching lack because we didn't replace those guys. So if we're giving grades, we're not doing grades. I didn't think it was a very good coaching job.
Right.
I don't know how much of this I put. The game plan, again, objectively, the offensive game plan, I didn't love. So that's bad. A lot of it came, I didn't play to play, wasn't terrible on play calling, defensive scheme and what we call, most of this was just guys were just not doing what they needed to do. So I don't put a lot of yesterday's loss on coaching the day of the game. But at this point, because we've heard this a couple of times about how great practice was, what are y'all practicing, bro?
That's what Brian Hancher said here about what Ben Bloodworth said about being sick about hearing about a great week of practice.
What does that equate to? What are you seeing in practice, man? This week in practice, we really went out there and ran hard. Guys were giving it their all. If this is a result of the best weeks of practice or a great practice, what does bad practice look like? Yeah. Do we just go out there and take naps on the field if we had a bad practice? I don't understand how none of what we heard in the offseason and what we hear in the weeks leading up to games translates to a game. None of it. Not a single thing is translating to the game. Yeah. And this is why I'm y'all putting too much stock in press conferences, because who cares at this point? I don't care what anybody says in a press conference, right? I don't care. It's so irrelevant, because, and that's one of the things I think John Samuel Shanker said in the postgame press. He's at some point in time, nobody wants to hear, y'all don't want to hear this stuff. We don't want it, until you do it in the game, none of it matters. It doesn't matter. I can say, he basically was I can say whatever right now. We lost the game. It has to translate to the field. Right. It doesn't matter. Saying stuff in press conferences does not win football games. Rah-rah speeches, none of that matters unless you're going to do it in the game. So we have to say that either we are talent deficient and these guys simply just are not the right conglomeration of talent to be able to be successful, or we have coaching that has absolutely no idea how to evaluate people and put them in a position to be successful or have the right guys in the right place. I don't understand why Jeremiah Wright wasn't starting from the beginning of the season. Objectively, that's a poor decision.
Right.
right? And so this isn't just about X's and O's at this point in time. It's about understanding who your guys are that are going to go out there and put max effort on the field and make plays. And it's about guys who have the opportunity to make plays, making the plays. Like, people are talking about the defensive scheme. Multiple times we should have had negative plays happen. Guys missed tackles. The scheme does not do anything for that.
Right.
You can scheme it up perfectly. Guys got to go tackle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not the job of the defensive coordinator to tackle. His job is to say, this is your gap, this is your gap, this is your gap. Go attack these gaps when you get this look. They did everything they schemed up, got to the point of attack, and missed the tackle. It's not the coach's fault. And this ain't, again, this is not a defense of Brian Hart. I get it. I get it. Every time you say something that sounds like that's not the coach's fault, that's a defense. It's not. It ain't. I can have the best playbook in the world and people don't do the stuff. Doesn't matter. What I put on the coaches 100% is I don't think the best guys, and I said this last year, and I said this the year before, I don't think the best guys are getting the opportunities to play. And why that is, I don't know. I don't know how the practice warriors have not been game time ballers, but that has been an issue for a long time. And that has to be solved.
And that's something we thought was going to be different, because there were plenty of people that we didn't even see hit the field for Gus Malzahn that we thought, all right, why isn't he playing these guys? And we thought, okay, it's going to be different now, because he's going to see, it's not going to be a predetermined, you're going to play because somebody told me to. You're going to play because you're the best player for this position. And we thought that was going to be happening. But I've got too many questions. I've got too many questions about who's out there, when they're out there, and why they get to continue playing poorly.
The one room I don't really question so much is the wide receiver room, because I legitimately feel like all the guys in our wide receiver room have a ton of talent. Like, that's a hard room to decide who gets to go in and play, because those guys are supremely talented up and down that room. I don't even know that we use tight ends effectively enough to matter who it is in the game at tight end. Like, we just don't effectively have a plan to utilize tight end. So unless they're essentially additional linemen at this point in time, they're not getting utilized for real right now. So that's a scheme issue. You've got a lot of talent that's not being used there. We don't really effectively use our wide receivers, but again, I'm talking about playing time and snaps. Offensive line, no clue what we're doing there. None whatsoever. Don't understand the strategy coming out of fall. Don't understand it right now during games. Don't understand anything about what we're doing on the offensive line and why that's being what it is. The quarterback position, I fundamentally believe that was, you had to just kind of get what you got available. And then one of your guys that you thought was going to be there to be able to give you some reprieve got hurt. That happens. I'm not mad about the quarterback decision. What I'm mad about is not utilizing the talents of the quarterback that we have in a better way, in an offense that was sold as being multiple and having a lot of ability to be able to do that. Don't see that. It's not present. Don't understand what's going on there. Defense is where I got beef.
Mm-hmm.
I got beef on the defensive. The offense is objectively bad. Most of that, for me, distills down to the offensive line.
Right.
I got beef on defense, fam, because I don't understand how the vast majority of that game Keontae Scott was not playing.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why Marquise Gilbert was supposed to be this phenomenal safety, and we've had issues at safety, and he's not playing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't understand how the linebackers can consistently be this bad, and we don't see different linebackers rotate in, unless you're telling me, hey, these are actually the best two we got. I don't understand that, because coming out of camp, Cam Riley, that's all we heard. Cam Riley is going to be a baller this year, He looked good early against some lesser opponents. Then he got hurt. And now, I mean, is he still working his way back from the injury? Like, what's going on? Like, he was getting shuffled in and out. Wesley Steiner just hasn't panned out. Owen Papo just really ain't there. Like, what's going on with Eugene Asante? Like, why is he not seeing? Again, I don't know the answers because I can't see him practice. I don't know how they prepare, but like, dang, bro, like he started at North Carolina. Is he that bad?
Right.
Like Robert Woodyard, young, I get it. Is he objectively worse than what we've seen?
And if he is, you can blame it on inexperience. These guys have experience. These guys, they don't have excuse.
Say, hey man, you know what? Yes, a young guy taking this line. Like, man, come on, fam. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, because at least if we're gonna have young guys taking the lumps on offense, put McPherson in there, let him get his lumps on kicking.
I ain't even got to that,
all
bro.
the defensive starters, let them all get their lumps the same year, so we can go into an off season and know what we've got.
Yo, I just don't get it, fam. Like special teams and defense, I don't understand it. I don't understand the personnel decisions being made. I don't like for it to be this bad on a defensive unit that is talented. These kids have talent. Robert Woodyard has talent. Why is he not seeing the field? Somebody got to explain that to me. Somebody got to make that make sense when our linebackers are playing so poorly. Jeffrey Emba, as inexperienced as he had, he's a physical freak. Somebody need to figure out how to put him in a position to run dudes over on. I almost said it again. I almost let another one slip out right there. To run dudes over on Saturdays and make havoc on. Somebody needs to figure that out for me. I just like somebody make the light go off for me and help me understand why that's happening. Leak some practice footage or something and be like, see, this is why. Can I get like anonymous? Where you at, fam? Like, can I get somebody to go hack some system and leak some practice footage to me and tell me this is, oh, I see. He's actually trash.
Yeah.
He's like, like, I know you think the dudes out there on the field, no, he's actually trash. Like, it's really like you, but it's, again, it's difficult to evaluate. Yeah, your defensive line looks great in practice when you're going up against these dudes. Everybody look good against them.
Yeah.
Don't matter. You're trash. We're not a good football team, fam. We're not.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
My bad. I know. I just went on kind of like, I'm sorry.
What question did we answer? And how did we get
I don't even know.
What was the question? What did y'all eat at halftime?
Man, we bad, man. All right, guys.
Oh,
it's time to at least lighten up the mood a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's talk about what we saw.
What did we see?
We bad, man. That's what we're I'm gonna go first. I know that Ike and B's are gonna have some great ones. I just want to ask someone a particular question. How's life in Stillwater, Derek Mason?
It was all good just a week ago.
Just a week.
Yeah.
Oh, Mace. Coach Derek Mason Betha. Come on down. Let me talk to you. Y'all got booty blasted just yesterday.
Shout out to Mike G.
Shout out to Mike G. You got booty blasted. Put up a bagel. Now I'm gonna shoot you a little bit of bail. I'm gonna be fair in this criticism because your offense is bad. Your offense is not good.
And they had been good this year. Yesterday, though.
They were bad.
Yeah.
They had 217 total yards of offense and turned the ball over 3 times.
That's us.
You're going to give up some points. Fair enough. But you took a pay cut for that, bro. You could have made more money doing the same thing you're doing here. Now, I get it. You're at OK State. You already did your move a year early. Okay, I get it. But, bro, you could have you took a pay cut to basically you talk about a lateral move. Good luck, man. Good luck. If the offense is doing this, and currently I looked up OK State's offense. They it sounds like Gus all over again in some respects. Power run, play action. They like to run the ball a lot at OK State. Currently, they're 75th in NCAA and FBS in terms of rush yards. They got 54 yards yesterday on the ground. And their QB didn't really show up. So if you got a situation like that, your defense is going you're not going to look good as a defensive coordinator. You're going to look pretty bad. So hopefully your boss figures out his issues on offense and you stop looking as bad. But yeah, you had a rough outing, and it's likely we may see you have another rough game or two before this season is out. But hey, I hope you're enjoying life over there. That's all I got. I defer my time to whoever is next. Who is next? Who wants to go?
I'll go ahead and get mine out the way. I've done enough ranting today. Hey, Penn State, it's good. Y'all was looking decent, for a couple weeks. But then y'all played Michigan. You looked good for 3 quarters against Ohio State. In the fourth quarter, you said, we are done playing football, I guess. I don't know what we are other than done. Yeah. People, listen, I don't have room to talk, right? Auburn's awful. I don't care. Y'all got skull drug in the fourth quarter of that game, and it looked awful. People are out there complaining about that quarterback once again, about how he's overstayed his welcome, and they're talking about firing their coach. James Franklin's never gonna get us over the hump. He's not good. Hey, Penn State, sup? Because listen, Penn State fans told me how this was their year, and they were gonna make some noise nationally and all this kind of stuff. And our run game is amazing, and this and this, and yeah. Listen, I get it. We suck. Welcome to the family. See, that's all I got for y'all, man. I ain't got nothing else. Be well, it's on you, brother.
Oh, well, I told y'all how the rest of the season was going to go about 2 weeks ago. And I declared this, the season of hate. I will be hating my way through this season. It was a special hate day yesterday because, of course, see that Penn State game going on while Auburn's playing. And, of course, I also hated to see Auburn be bad. That's number one. I hated seeing that. But I saw Penn State fighting back against Ohio State early and said, ooh, they're going to get one? They were in the game. They made it a game. Late third or early fourth quarter to give up 28 points. I don't know if it hurts worse to be bad and come in knowing you're probably going to lose and then lose. So it's like, yeah, we're bad. Or to have hope and have it snatched away by the better team, putting up 28 points on you in the fourth quarter at home. One of those touchdown scores that Ohio State got was a pick six. The quarterback that looked so good early against Auburn, that was a road test. It wasn't. That played so well, but when he went on the road to Michigan, you see, now he turns back into the pumpkin. Clock strikes 12. It's over. This is the guy you got. That's what you got. But you ride with him because he's doing enough winning that you can't replace him, which is always, again, B. Will's mantra. He ain't getting it done. Get him out the game. But you ride with your mediocre dude because you're doing too much winning. And to see that final score end up being what it was, I was like, oh snap. It was like, oh, what? They're gonna be furious. It's gonna be crazy. I can't wait to see all their tweets. It's gonna be outstanding. I have long been anti any coach who has fanfare because he's winning a certain number of games per year. I am anti any coach who can seem to win a big game but can't win consistently. There are coaches who do some of both. Gus, we lost to people who we shouldn't have lost to, but he also won some we probably shouldn't have won. With somebody like not Lane Kiffin, what's his name? Hugh Freeze. He did the same thing. He not just beat Bama. We talked about this last week. He beat Bama in back-to-back years. In 2014, when Bama's defense was not that good, you can see how they beat Bama. He had some studs, a really big recruiting class. I mean, probably cheating, but that's the game. You got the studs, you got the win. But you lost enough games to not win the West. Same thing 2015. You come back with a better quarterback, some of the same studs, got the big win at Bama. Who beats Bama back-to-back and then the second time being at home? When that was their only loss in the regular season in 2014. So they were ready to get that back. They were ready to pay that back, and you beat them again. That takes some phenomenal coaching. How did you lose 2 more games that season? How does that happen? How does that happen? Because you can win the big one, but you aren't consistent enough to win throughout the rest of the regular season. James Franklin is that guy, except on the opposite side. We're going to play right here to our level. When we got to play somebody else who's a little bit better, can't rise to the occasion, can't get over the hump. He is living off the 2016 victory over Ohio State and the consequential, I think they won the Big Ten that year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And they got jumped by Ohio State. Ohio State wasn't that good that year, which is why they got thumped in the playoff to the tune of 30-0 by Clemson. But James Franklin is doing the same thing. He's living off of you remember that time I beat Ohio State? Now just wait. They're recruiting great. They've got the guys. They've got the 5-star quarterbacks, the 5-star running backs, the 4 5-star offensive linemen. They are getting them. And he's beating everybody who he has more talent than. But he can't line up with the big boys. He's overrated. And I love to see overrated coaches. Especially after y'all paid so much for him in the offseason. You wanted to keep him from going to USC? Everybody pays so much to keep their coaches from leaving. Mel Tucker, I don't even hate Mel Tucker. Man, listen, Mel Tucker has an awful season. He had one good year. One. Got $90-something million because they were afraid of letting him walk out the door. He hasn't proven anything yet. He hasn't proven that last year was not an aberration. But everybody's programs are so scared of coaches like, well, what if he's the one? We got to lock him up. We got to lock him up. 2017 after Gus, just had to lock him up. What's his name? Jimbo. Oh, LSU's open? No, we got to lock him up. Mel Tucker. We got to lock up Mel Tucker. That sounds funny because he hasn't won anything. We got to lock up Mel Tucker right now. We can't let him leave. Somebody go lock the doors. We can't let him out of the facility. Turn the lights off. We won't find his door. Oh, my God. And so it was with great pleasure last night that Ike Jones knows this. He was watching the Texas A&M Ole Miss game with me.
Yeah.
On Saturday mornings, when I'm writing Betting with B. Will, which we had a phenomenal day yesterday. We went 6-1. Our only loss was that made a homer pick for Auburn to cover. It didn't work out. But other than that, we were perfect on the day with our picks. So if you've been betting along, thank you. It was rough early season. We're getting better info, and we're doing good. I put together a ticket yesterday morning on my own. I put $50 on 8 things to happen. That would have won me $8,500. It's been a good week. It's been a very nice day. Sometimes things work out very badly. I've had some bad beats this season. Lost some, got it back. Lost some, got it back. Lost some, got it back. Nothing to complain about. Been in the game. But last night, wouldn't you know it, that I was waiting for an $8,500 ticket to come to fruition. And the very last bet that had to happen on my parlay was Ole Miss winning by 3 to beat Jimbo Fisher. It was a very good night last night. as I watched Tennessee throttle Kentucky when the line was only 11.5. I was like, oh, you kidding me? I'm taking that. Saturday morning, put the whole ticket together. And it got a little dicey because I saw Lane Kiffin's old dumbass going for it on fourth a couple of times. Like, what are you doing with my money, Lane? I would have been the biggest anti-Lane Kiffin guy ever if I had lost that ticket, and I would have never told anybody why. I would have just been hating on Lane Kiffin every time his name came up. But Lane did just enough for me. And he was salty and spiteful about it.
I'm still off of Lane for that for some of those reasons. Go ahead.
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
But the moral of the story is, if you hate on your rival, not only with your mouth, but with your money, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. I bet at the beginning of the day that Jimbo Fisher was a fraud, and I won. I won betting against Jimbo Fisher. It feels really good. It not only did something to see them fall to 3-5 right along with Auburn, even though, to credit, they looked better. And again, we're calling it coaching. I think the quarterback is just better than Haynes King. Inexperienced, but I think he looked better than Haynes King. A-Chain is a dog. The offensive line's a little better than ours. But you lost. He lost. And I got a lot of money because he lost. The very last pick of the day. He could have pulled some magic out and ruined my day, my night, my weekend, but he didn't. He stuck to his form, to who he truly is, and my pockets are heavier because of it. So, thank you, Jimbo Fisher. Let the hate continue.
When your head coach or OC's playbook looks like this, this is what this call sheet looks like. All these papers, the offense is terrible. It's trash. When it looks like all of that, he just looks. It looked better because Ole Miss's defense can't stop the run for real.
Yeah,
but Jimbo looks bad on the sideline, man.
He looks sloppy too, bro. Like, come on, man.
Where did he gain all that weight?
I don't know what happened to Jimbo, man.
He got his weight up. Eating good. Come on, man. What you eat? What you gonna look like? Well, okay. Well, I would actually look better because I would have the time. Well, now head coaches don't really have time, honestly.
Listen, man. Brian Harsin be in the gym, cuz.
You know what? That's not a good. He in the gym. We're playing terrible.
Good point.
We playing terrible.
Listen, man. Nick Saban ain't gained no weight all these years.
That's true. I mean, he's active out there with his on the field. Though. Not that.
Jimbo looks objectively like he just is letting himself go. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's something. I don't like speaking on people's physical appearance too much because like you don't know what's happening with them personally. But like,
sure. But I was watching him. Like
he looked a little sloppy, bro.
He looked like what's old dude for New England?
To my Belichick?
Yeah, he looked like that homeless, sloppy.
I mean, Belichick does it on purpose though. Like he's wearing big oversized hoodies and stuff like that. But like Jimbo, like and like if I'm serious, like seriously though, like somebody needs to check on Jimbo, man, because like he is like nervously, like frantically eating or whatever. Like something's happening with Jimbo Fisher, bro. Because
frantically,
that's a lot. That's a lot to go through in a very short period of time, bro.
Well, you know what? What's his name? Peter Thamel. I think he's an ESPN reporter. He was like mid-show, right?
Yeah, I saw
mid-game, and he said, "Well, those two sides are going to work it out, so there are going to be some big changes. So maybe he names an offensive coordinator, and some of that changes up, but he's going to be the head." So, what's funny about that is, I was led to believe that A&M had endless pockets, that they pay whatever to get whoever they wanted, and also if they felt like he's not getting it, then they would pay whatever to get rid of him. So it don't sound like you don't want to pay that buyout is what it sounds like.
It's a lot of money though. Like that is a ton of money. Because again, like the thing about buyouts is, and this is the thing I keep saying to people about the Auburn situation, you almost never have one buyout when you fire a coach. Almost never. It works out like that sometimes. But typically, depending upon whether or not where the coach is coming from has offset language in their buyout, they are going to have to buy out the contract of the coach they're firing, plus pay some sort of buyout for the new coach that they're bringing in, unless that coach is not currently under contract somewhere.
Right.
Which,
It's
for those
almost never
wondering,
that situation.
wanted to add this out. Part of the reason that Liberty renewed Hugh Freeze to the extent that they did was for them to go, all right, you might want to leave. There's some jobs coming open. Help us out here. It's been a good few years, hasn't it? Sign this contract so that way, when you leave, we aren't left with no money and no coach. At least they would have to, whoever wants to get you is going to have to pony up and help us bridge the gap, because we're going to have a lot of things to figure out too. Because Lane Kiffin signed a similar deal in 2018.
See,
and he was somewhere else in 2020.
But that's why buyouts work to an extent, because it protects the university from other schools coming to get their coach. The problem is you've made an assumption that you got a guy that other schools want. And so when your coach begins to do poorly, who's coming for that guy? And now you're stuck with that coach and no one's coming for him.
Right.
So now you want to get rid of them, and now you got to eat that money that you was hoping to get back from a school who was coming to get your guy.
Yeah.
More times often than not, these buyouts backfire on a lot of institutions and universities. But a school like Liberty, who's a small school, really and truly, I think these buyouts benefit these smaller schools more than they ever would these larger schools.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, Nicholas Frazier says, if Harsin took over play calling after week 3 or 4, how different does the offense look, if any at all? What you think about that, Ike?
I don't know how different it looks. I mean, play to play, it probably looks a little bit different. Objectively, I think that Coach Harsin is a better play caller, but you still got to block.
Yeah.
And there are ways in play calling that you can scheme around that, but you still have to block somebody every now and then in order for plays to work. And we find the most inopportune times to not do that, it seems. So
for sure.
Yep.
Walt Taylor says sunshine pump, but I really like how the offense scored on the final play. Of course, it was Quez, but Robbie stayed in it. And a better pass to Camden Brown, and he scores. Brown is keeping his head in the game. I like what I'm seeing from Brown. I really do. And
all truth about that statement.
I want to see more of him. I want to see more opportunities thrown his way, for sure. Reggie says, imagine if B. Will would bet a stack. Would he be potting from Dubai today?
I can't even imagine. Don't do that to me. Of course, it makes me regret not bet. I mean, who knows you're going to hit an 18 parlay before you bet it. If I knew I was going to hit it, I mean, I'd have pulled out another mortgage on the house and bet it. But, that's just how I go.
Chess Rockwell says, I did see AD Diamond say he's sticking around for the new coaching staff. And I saw the announcement, too, with King, with the NIL situation on yesterday as well. So thoughts on that, guys?
This is why
I feel like them tweets was planned, bro. Like they just had them joints on like scheduled to go up, because I don't know how it happened like 2 days after he announced he's leaving, and somebody was like, "Oh, I forgot to pull that scheduled tweet down for Landon King."
Right. But AD Diamond's comments is why, we're losing talent in the middle of the season. Guys weren't playing and we're losing. There is nowhere where guys who aren't playing on losing teams are going to stick around to have their eligibility shredded. They're gonna get in the transfer portal, and if they're not gonna do it mid-season, they're gonna do it at the end of the season. They have, just like we have, a chance in 5 weeks to go, all right, who is it? Let's hear it out. Either I like it or I don't like it, or I'm enthused by the hire, because there's a lot to be made of that when that happens. And that can completely turn this thing around and get all the players excited. So we're also assuming that whoever the new coach is wants everybody that is in the transfer portal, because they might not.
Listen, man. Can we talk about how, like, I just overall, this has nothing to do with AD Diamond specifically, but just overall, how I'm just confused as to what's happening with Auburn football as a program as a whole, because we go, let's flash back. after we lost to Penn State, somebody made some decision to say, we're not going to post the final score on social media like we normally do. Like the tweet goes up and then they delete it, right? That happened. The media team was just out there doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Before this game, somehow, not one time, but twice, our media team on the big screen or during the stadium announcement says Holden Gariner is going to be the starting quarterback today. How do you miss that?
Oh, man.
And then the social media account on the Instagram has the same post about Holden Gariner. Like, how do you miss that? Now, again, that ain't got nothing to do with coaching. But what is happening where we can't get our act together on so many levels of just simple stuff? Like
Holden didn't even play.
I just don't, not even garbage time, right? Like he looked shocked when they called his name over to be. He's like, what? Me? Like, I don't like how, why? I fundamentally don't understand the level of, I'm going to use a harsh word here, ineptitude that's being displayed in so many places. It's insanity. And it's like, and again, I'm going to say before I say this, this is the place where people are going to want to say Ike is stumping for Coach Harsin. It feels sabotage like. It feels like everybody's just like, man, screw it. We're going to have.
You're not the first person to say. Mike Hendrick is right here with you. Appreciate you watching with us, Mike.
It feels like people are just like, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm just like, on all levels, we just screwing stuff up, bro.
Yeah.
Stuff that's not even in the purview of the head coach. Again, if you think that Coach Brian Harsin is responsible for whose name gets called on the PA system for the starting lineup, you're crazy.
Yeah.
For the social media posts that go, like, you're crazy. So, like, why is it objectively so bad in so many places, dog? Like, we can't be this bad, man. We just can't, bro. Like at everything. Like, we only gonna be good at basketball?
It's basketball.
And equestrian?
And gymnastics. Baseball.
So again, it's not as if we don't have competent media departments. They do really great things in all of these other sports. Why did the football? Why like, somebody explain to me how the social media department got this? They were snapping last year. They did all these great things. Like all of a sudden now we can't make the right posts about who's, or it was a joke. They trolling.
Yeah.
Like, we just been trolling all year. We're going to tease orange jerseys, but really it's just an orange stripe on it. Like, what are we doing, fam? What are we doing? Somebody explain to me what's actually happening. What parallel universe have we entered into in which we can't be good at anything when it comes to football? Not even announcing the right players. Come on, man. Let's be for real here. Like, what are we doing? Like, somebody look yourself in the mirror over there and say, what are we actually doing right now?
Are you even still working at Auburn? Like, why are you here? Because that's embarrassing. If I'm visiting the stadium, I'm on the visiting team. I'm like,
do you realize how big that story got? Like, so fast, they announced Holden Gariner as the starting quarterback. Why? Why are we making non-stories things? And it's just because somebody programmed the wrong thing into something somebody read off? We couldn't take like 35. Like, listen, and I'm the king. I'll put up a tweet that got misspelling on it. You see graphics on here. Like, you make mistakes, bro. But like, y'all get paid too much money for this.
Right.
Y'all get paid too much money for this to be that bad.
A professional operation that we know can be excellent.
Come on, fam.
Yeah.
I might make the graphic wrong, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to be good when I get on camera. We can't be bad at everything is my point. We just can't. Can't be kicking the balls out of bounds. We can't be missing tackles. We can't be missing open receivers. We can't be dropping passes, missing blocks, and screwing up graphics and announcing the wrong names. We gonna just be bad at everything, fam? Everything. Seriously.
Everything.
I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up again. I apologize. I haven't slept a lot. It's a lot driving, you know what I'm saying, going back and forth to games. I apologize, y'all. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Okay. Maybe we should all do that.
Yeah.
Joe Kyle, what did I see? We bad, but the War Rapport is good.
Man,
Joe
thank
Kyle,
you.
we want to thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Joe.
Sticking with
Appreciate
us.
the
Everybody who
super chat.
sticks with us. Y'all make
Thanks.
this fun. This
Y'all
is
do.
the only
This
fun
is
to be
therapy
had.
this therapy for us, because usually I wouldn't even go near a TV that looks like it has sports on it. But I can talk about this with y'all, and we can work out. We can hate on other people. This is therapeutic. Ben Bloodworth, if Texas A&M loses to Florida next week, we can prevent them from being bowl eligible by beating them. Say it together, guys.
Hey.
See? I feel better already. Good stuff. Thanks again, guys, for hanging out with us. I tell the folk what they need to be doing.
You need to be members of the War Rapport. Listen, man, I get it. Auburn football, not great. But in the illustrious words of our man, Joe Kyle, but the War Rapport is. And we're going to continue to give y'all that great content and give you a reason to vent if you want to vent, smile if you want to smile. You know, you can dance if you want to dance, stomp if you want. Never mind. It's all right. You had to be a Jay-Z fan to even understand what that was.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry. I got to at least do one every show, some random hip hop reference that people won't understand. But yeah, man, come on as a member of the War Rapport. $5.99 gets you there. $3.99 if you want to be a supporter. Support all the great work that we're doing out here. You can gift memberships to other people courtesy of YouTube. You can go in, gift that membership right now in the live chat area. Gift it to someone else. They'll get one free month of War Rapport membership on you. If you didn't get a chance to win something today, don't worry. We still have plenty of stuff available in our merch store. You can go to thewarreport.com, check out great articles, most of them being written by B. Will, so check out a lot of that stuff that he's putting out there for you. Caesar's doing his weekly power rankings, which, Lord, I shudder to think what that's going to look like this week, but there is an article about the power rankings that's going to be there available on thewarreport.com, and you can shop there with us and support us in that way. Cop some War Rapport merch, rock it around Auburn during basketball season when you have more reason to really feel good about what's happening with your sports, or you can just rock it around town and tell people about the great work that we're doing here at the War Rapport. We appreciate all of that. We are the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport on all of your podcast platforms. So for audio content of some of the stuff that we're doing here, as well as some audio-only things that we're publishing directly to that, you can go and find us on the Auburn Express. Make sure that you are subscribed to us so that you know exactly when we're going to have new content posted there, and we appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. Shout out to Athletic Architects for being a sponsor of today's show. And guys, you can help us as well by sharing this content on social media. Please use the hashtag, smash that like button before you get out of here, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. As for social media, I've been mentioning Facebook and Twitter. You can find us there, as well as Instagram at The War Rapport. We are TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys, but we will definitely be back this week with our regularly scheduled programming and content on podcasts as well as on YouTube. We will see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.